Are you scared of the dark? What about your nightmares? Have you ever imagined yourself being dismembered?
Help me! Somebody!
Just what is your capacity for fear? I think it's time we find out. I am Albert Kane, and I am the caretaker. Tonight you will be my very special guest for the most intense night of terror on Earth. Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. Join me on a journey through your fears as I transform Universal's Islands of Adventure into one disturbing nightmare after another. Your time has come.
Islands of Adventure, the newest theme park at the Universal Orlando Resort. 5 themed islands surround a lagoon. The attractions here allow you to defy gravity, brave the world's first inverted dual-track coaster, come face to face with a T-Rex, and scale buildings with Spider-Man in one of the most advanced attractions ever created. It is a thrill-seeker's paradise, exciting and terrifying. But that is nothing compared to what happens every October and November when the sun sets and a wickedness takes over Universal's Islands of Adventure. Evil arrives. No one is safe as up to 600 ghoulish monsters overrun the park, torturing the innocent souls who dare to enter. No, this isn't a nightmare. It is Halloween Horror Nights, a special ticket event that takes place after theme park hours. Victims run, victims hide, but there is no escape. 5 ghastly haunted mazes tempt the naive. Inside, these victims are marionettes at the mercy of the mad minds of Universal's puppeteers.
Halloween Horror Nights is one of the most professionally done attractions in the country. It's a highly detailed, high startle, high score event.
Universal's reputation and resources make this one of the biggest horror-themed events in the country.
One of the things that Universal Studios is able to do is budget. They're able to put a large amount of money into their events, into each one of their elements, their attractions.
Another advantage Universal has is its history with horror. Long before Halloween Horror Nights wreaked havoc on theme park visitors, Universal Studios was making moviegoers squirm in their seats.
Universal was known for its horror films, and it was also known that the horror films actually helped save Universal from financial disaster. Films such as Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy.
But there's a big difference between watching a horrific event and living it. That is the challenge the designers of Halloween Horror Nights faced.
Everything has to connect, so when a guest walks into that space, they feel like they've been transported to this kind of fantasy horror environment, that they can believe that for that split second that they are real monsters and they're going to come actually and interact with me.
Of course, it doesn't hurt that their backdrop is a world-renowned theme park famous for its stomach-in-your-throat coasters.
Islands of Adventure was a park designed around thrills and thrill rides. And Halloween Horror Nights, the event itself, is all about thrills and chills.
Haunted house gives you the opportunity to experience what would happen to you in a violent situation safely. So that same target market that wants to go to a haunted house also wants to ride the roller coasters.
The Universal team spends an entire year designing the event. And there are plenty of scares here to freak out even self-proclaimed tough guys. Every nook and cranny is what Universal calls a scare zone. But it is the 5 haunted mazes that draw thousands of would-be victims each night.
A haunted maze is an experience that is a series of different types of scenes that you go through. We use the term maze because it is a maze. We don't want people to ever feel like they know which way to turn, which way to go.
And one of the ways Universal makes the mazes believable is by developing a story.
Some of the mistakes that we've come across over the years developing Halloween is taking the guest and not giving them the credit that they deserve. A theme is very, very important to the guest. They want to know why this maze is here, why this room is filled with bodies, why this creature is coming after me.
Each maze is created around a core scare, which takes a basic human fear, like fear of the dark or fear of bugs, and magnifies it. This theory works. After all, everyone's afraid of something.
Fear is something that is genetic, and everyone is afraid of certain things. But fear is also learned.
So, Universal asks the ultimate question: what are you afraid of? Be careful how you answer, because they'll figure out a way to make it 10 times worse than your imagination. That leads us to our first horrific haunt, which focuses on one of the most common fears: death.
Well, I think death is one of the things that most everyone tends to be afraid of. First of all, you don't know what's going to happen when you die. You don't know if it's going to be painful. Nobody wants to be in pain.
There's no place with more deathly scares than the caretaker's haunted mansion, Scream House.
He lived in this Victorian house that was right next door to a cemetery. And he would take the poor, he'd say, "You're sick, I need to take care of you." And then he would operate on them to find out how he could get the soul.
It is in this unassuming soundstage that Universal created the biggest attraction at Halloween Horror Nights 12. In fact, it took dozens of construction workers and craft artisans to build the maze's structure. Universal goes to great lengths to make sure every detail feels authentic. From the fading wallpaper to the antique furniture.
Within the mazes, props and the scenic pieces are very critical to help make the reality of the space come to life. So we do lots of type of period shopping. We spend lots of time scouring either the state and the East Coast, from thrift shops to different types of antique spaces. And we want stuff that already is a little damaged and distressed.
But you aren't going to be startled by a piece of furniture. No, it's the secret tactics Universal employs that makes your heart race.
Scare tactics for what we do here at Halloween Horror Nights are something that as designers we keep very close to us. It's almost like the magician giving away the secret of how he pulls the rabbit out of the hat.
2 types of scare tactics are special effects and scaracters, who are actors hired by Universal to give you the fright of your life. Our cameras got to go behind the scenes of Scream House to find out how they used these and other scare tactics like misdirection and distraction.
Some of our scares are about distraction. The character here will fire this foot pedal, lets off that scream, and then another pedal here will activate a hydraulic gag. This is called a boo door. We camouflage it in to look like the rest of the wall. This looks like a pantry. Then we use misdirection. We've got these nasty dead animal carcasses hanging here and these nasty, ugly things, and this character gets you from this side. When we design our haunted houses, we try and bring our characters at you from unexpected locations. Right now, it looks like you're 30 feet away from me, but thanks to this mirror gag, I'm right next to you, and that gives a good scare.
Once the designers have developed the scares, it's up to the characters to enforce them.
What makes the heart of this house is the soul that you'll give it.
We followed David Clevenger from Universal Entertainment as he gave a new batch of ghosts and goons on-the-job training.
People walk by, he's going to come out and go, "Nice to have you here," or "Get out," or whatever. Say something negative to us in 2 words or 3 words. Go away. You have to say perfect. And then close. Immediately close it.
The cast of Scream House characters include a whole host of creatures who fell victim to the caretaker's experiments. And to make sure a scare lurks around every corner, Universal staffed Scream House with up to 26 characters a night. Characters aren't the only things scaring guests. Scenic pieces play a major role. But how do they keep all the visitors from fingering the props?
What's this?
Simple. Smear them with the gooeyest concoction you can find. Petroleum jelly. There are some props in Scream House that can't be seen. They're smelled. Universal actually pumps in smells like dead flowers, dirt, and simulated rotting flesh. But once you've got the scents, how do you spread them around?
There's 2 different types of techniques that we circulate the smells within our houses. There's a high-tech version, which is something that's an actual smell machine that you can buy. We use sometimes the low-tech version, which is also very easy to do, is actually we use crock pots, and we mount on top of the crock pots fans. We actually blow the smells in a certain range. We want a continual smell.
And there's one effect visitors would definitely miss if it wasn't there. Listen and see if you can guess what it is. If you guessed sound effects, then you're right. Let's hear that clip again with sound. Sound effects and music play a major role in any maze. In fact, it takes an entire room worth of equipment to keep Scream House, well, screaming. Now, lock your doors, close the blinds, and put the kids to bed. It's your turn to enter Scream House. The unexpected greets guests as they make their way through the twisting, decaying halls of the dilapidated mansion. hungry souls who fell victim to the caretaker's maniacal experiments take revenge on the innocent, scaring them when they least expect it.
Help me! I can't move!
Body bags holding the not-so-fortunate and other obstructions block visitors as they try to escape their doomed fate. That finally leads them to the mausoleum and a face-to-face encounter with the caretaker.
Your time has come.
Tens of thousands of gore-greedy guests haunt this annual event each night. Putting on an event of this magnitude takes an entire year of planning, with Universal creating new Halloween Horror Nights content each year. The design team starts working on next year's event right after the current one opens. Our cameras went into the restricted design area, where many Universal employees aren't even allowed.
Back here in our art design department, we create Halloween. We create it from the ground up. This is where we start with a blank piece of white paper and start doing sketches, and it comes out of our head. And we put it on a piece of paper, and if we like it, we move on and work on it and pick at it. And when we get it to where we want, we take it up to our execs and we say, is this the way you want us to go? And they look at it, and if they like it, and sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do, then we take it and we put it into computers and we colorize it and we work at it some more and we build the houses and we build the icons, the characters.
Planning and designing goes on through midsummer.
In August, we start building the haunted houses and start fleshing out all the street details. In September, our actors come to the set, and then we open the show on the first week of October.
All this so visitors can get the ultimate Halloween Horror Nights high. The adrenaline rush.
I think the event is successful because of the rush that people get from attending it. We get people who are looking for that adrenaline rush.
People like to be scared because it releases the adrenaline into the system, and this causes excitement. In fact, part of being alive is having that sort of chemical in your system.
So, how does Universal turn a happy-go-lucky theme park by day into a land of terror by night?
It takes us all of about 2 hours to do it, and it's an army of people, and they're choreographed to the point where everybody knows what they have to do in a certain period of time. It's almost like a ballet, that's how it happens.
One of the lands that gets this twisted facelift is Marvel's Superhero Island. By day, this Islands of Adventure land is home to superheroes, where mild-mannered people are safe to roam the streets. By night, good has been crushed. The villains have won, and humans are in danger. This land morphs into Island Under Siege.
Carnage, which is the master villain of our island, basically is the master of the space. He's basically turned the whole island into kind of chaotic space.
Overturned cars, smoke and fire, and mangled villains make Marvel's Superhero Island feel like nothing short of a theme park war zone. Amongst the rubble and rampage of Island Under Siege is one of the event's 5 mazes, Maximum Carnage.
You have to navigate through this kind of barbed wire experience with gamma radiation and toxic chemicals, target practice with laser beams, and all the while these evil henchmen and supervillains chasing you, wanting to capture you and make you part of their evil clan.
Maximum Carnage is an interesting attraction. There's a lot of actors popping out of nowhere. It's different from the other attractions, which is always good.
A run through Maximum Carnage can be very threatening and make you feel out of control. Or at least that's how the Universal designers want you to feel.
Maximum Carnage, the core scare, is all about threatening environments. It's about being out of control.
So how did they create an atmosphere that appears to be threatening while keeping it safe? It's all about the high-tech toys.
Basically, one of the scares we use in all the houses are these pneumatic devices. They're handed to the character, and as the guests walk through, they're frightened by the sound. And if that doesn't scare them, that will. This is the vortex, or the tunnel. It's a lightweight cylindrical device that spins around a bridge as you're walking through it. It's basically backlit to give a disorienting effect that makes you kind of want to grab onto the rails because you're not sure of the motion that's going through. Basically, this is the waterfall effect. It consists of a series of pool pumps that draws the water out of a pool vat area, pumps it up 10 feet into the air. The water gently cascades over to the side. We accent this with lighting effects to give it more disorienting of effect, and then we scare from opposite directions for full effect.
So what's it like to take a trip through Maximum Carnage? Now it's your turn to find out. A maze of twisted metal, chain link fences, and Carnage's henchmen are on the loose. The music is deafening. The lights are blinding as you trudge through pools of toxic waste. Tunnel disorients you, and then finally you enter the nuclear reactor room. After the uncontrolled chaos of Maximum Carnage, visitors are probably ready for the reprieve that Toon Lagoon, with its cartoon characters and splashy rides, promises. Too bad.
We created a character called a Treek and Froon, which are characters that travel in pairs, and the characters are able to actually hide in the foam and pop out at you and interact with you. So we've littered basically the whole island with foam.
Toon Lagoon doesn't normally look like a giant bubble bath, so where did they get all the suds?
The foam machines are a great commercial product that we use that takes 55-gallon drum, which is basically a soap substance, and interjects air into it, and then actually creates a large, basically bubble bath type of foam. We usually transport it through a scaffolding tower and hang the foam machines about 10 feet in the air. and this gives us a great kind of waterfall effect of foam.
It's not all fun and games at this event. While multitudes of guests might mean mega success for Universal, it also creates a few challenges for the designers.
The problems with any type of an event this large are capacity. You have to be able to design a haunted house that can take a lot of people. Otherwise, you couldn't handle the event. The people would riot in line after waiting 4 hours to go through a 15-minute experience.
The greatest challenge that we face here is the large capacities of guests that come to our event. So for us, our biggest challenge is how do we still make it singular within the large amount of people that come and experience us. So we have to do that very strategically through the design, through the layout for how we actually able to split the groups up away from their safety and their security.
There is no safety or security when it comes to the prehistoric creatures in Universal's Jurassic Park.
We took the theme that follows the movies, which is where the dinosaurs have gotten out of their existing cages and now roaming the island free.
And free they are. Packs of velociraptors stalk their unsuspecting prey, humans. Mutant half-men, half-dinosaurs are the hideous victims of a scientific experiment gone terribly wrong. Buried in the middle of this prehistoric predator's playground is Evolution, an outdoor haunted maze.
Evolution is a fun event. The Triceratops that you see asleep in the beginning and then basically gutted at the end was really a nice touch.
The Universal designers used an existing attraction called Triceratops Discovery Trail to create this haunted maze.
Our Triceratops animatronic in Discovery Trail isn't very threatening. It's not very scary. So what we did to remedy this is we built this stockade around here and we busted up all these big holes through here to make it look as though something violent and terrifying happened in here. Then to try and get heavy, quick movement inside, we have high-powered strobes placed around the stockade. And as they fire quickly, it makes it appear as though this animal's moving very quickly. Then, of course, we have a busted up, bloodied up Dr. Burton who comes right at you at this hole. Then later on, you'll see another animatronic of Dr. Burton after he's met his demise. We wanted to show the terror and the horror of some of these half-dino, half-human creatures that Dr. Burton created in his genetics labs. So we got a prop from the movie Lost World, which we had in our warehouses here at Universal Studios, and we made it look as though it was ripped right out of the animal, as though it got torn right out, spinal cord and all. And the interesting thing is, our prop builders just used AB foam for all of this goo and gore, the same kind of insulation foam you'd find in any hardware store.
Are you ready to come face to face with a velociraptor? Then it's time to enter Evolution. There is little hope for you, considering the fate of Dr. Burton. This trek through the jungle will bring you face to face with mutant creatures you've never even imagined.
It's really scary. You don't know what to expect. There's something next to you, in front of you, behind you. You never know what's going to happen. And I thought it was a great experience. I loved getting scared, so I had a lot of fun.
If marauding dinosaurs aren't disturbing enough, these performers look like they just stepped out of a sideshow. They are known simply as the Freaks. It takes a special kind of person to give you a close encounter of the freakish kind. Meet one of Halloween Horror Nights' resident freaks, the Rat Lady.
I never thought about what the feeling would be like to have rats climbing all over me. First couple times I came in here, it was kind of eerie. An eerie feeling, having a little pitter-patter on you, but you get used to it.
The life of a freak is risky business, but would you spend a night in a coffin full of rats?
On any given night, we have about 30 rats in here. Sometimes, you know, there's little confrontations, they'll run around and they kind of nibble.
And what prevents the Rat Lady from getting eaten alive right before your eyes?
The dress that we have on is rat-proof, thank goodness. We do have it around our wrists and around our neck. And actually the skirt at the bottom has elastic pieces that come around our ankles so the rats can't climb, seeing as they're plexiglass right here and we can't actually get down there to, you know, keep them from running around.
Your work-related nightmares are nothing compared to those of the Rat Lady.
I don't think that everybody could have this job, but if you don't mind rats and you don't mind actually getting nipped every once in a while, it's really not that bad. You know, what other job can you get paid to, you know, lay down and scare people with rats?
If that's not enough, then the sideshow outside of maximum carnage will shock some and make most queasy. He's half man, half lizard, and 100% gross. Meet Lizard Man. This freak gives new meaning to the word grotesque, with over 700 hours of tattooing covering his body, Teflon ridges grafted to his skull, teeth filed to points, and a forked tongue. But that's just an appetizer.
Show him the dart.
This is a dart game for the macabre.
Oh,
And lifting weights never looked so repulsive. If these freaks' vulgar displays of human mutilation and sideshow stunts don't give you nightmares, it is sure to cause a loss of appetite. From a freak show to a hot TV show, pop culture is one way the Universal team gets inspiration for haunted mazes.
When we start developing Halloween, one of the things that we do is we take a look at what society is scared of. What's the newest trend? A good example this year is reality-based.
That brings us to our last maze, Fear Factor, which was based on the reality TV series of the same name.
The brand Fear Factor is synonymous with gross, nasty, yucky, slimy elements. So we took all of those elements and said, let's put them in a maze, turn the lights out, and then have them navigate it in the complete darkness.
Fear Factor puts the creepy, crawly, gross, and gooey in a darkened maze.
Fear Factor's core scare is all about the fears that people have every day. It's the fear of darkness, the fear of snakes, spiders, rats, worms, all of those things that everybody lives with every day and they're afraid of.
I just want to go. I just want to get out now.
There's many reasons to be afraid of insects and creepy crawlies. I think that much of that comes from childhood. You learn as a child that there's something scary about them. You see a spider and someone goes, ah, ew, and that teaches you then there's something to be afraid of.
So how did Universal take this cauldron of fears and brew them up to create a haunted maze?
We're here in the worm room, and as you can see, what we've done is taken these lengths of rope, put gummy worms on, fishing lures, we've got these little snakes, and in the dark, these are going to feel like real worms, which are really going to play on people's fears. You're going to be walking through here and getting these gooey things on you. It'll really mess with people's minds. This is the hair room. We've got about 15 different kinds of hair, lengths of hair, different kinds of matty, gooey hair. As you come through here, it's going to be all over your arms and your face, and it's completely pitch black. And then we're going to cover it in goo. I'm backstage with one of our special effects here. This is the shock drop bridge. As people come through, a scare actor will be hitting this foot pedal, dropping that bridge 2 inches into complete darkness. This is our finale for this house. We're going to have 4 characters with compressed air guns hitting you as you go out the door, sending you out screaming.
To instill fear in park guests, Universal employs approximately 600 characters who make it a perilous adventure for those who brave the event. One of the star characters of Halloween Horror Nights 12 looks like he could have popped out of the pages of a novel. Meet Nightmare. This menacing monster was the brainchild of the Universal Dream Team. But how do they turn an idea for a monster into the real deal? First, the concept is drawn as a pencil sketch. Then that drawing is transformed into a computer color rendering. From the color rendering, a small statue called a maquette is constructed. The prosthetics lab and costuming department then create the life-size costume. One of the most integral parts of Nightmare and many other characters is the mask. Making these synthetic disguises is practically a work of art.
The staff that I have making everything for Halloween Horror Nights is generally a staff of about 20 people at this point. They're all extremely skilled makeup artists with skills ranging from sculpting, mold making, painting.
And here's an eye-opener. They have to create multiple masks for one character.
We might have to make 15 of the same mask because they're in different areas of a haunted house or they're in shifts. So it's not that we just make a mask and it's one person.
The caretaker, the icon for Halloween Horror Nights 12, doesn't wear a mask. His look is created with makeup. Our cameras rolled as makeup artist Jonah Levy took actor Bryce Ward from normal guy to creepy goon, a process that takes up to 2 hours. We bet you won't see a makeover like this on any other show. In the character hierarchy, the event icon is certainly at the top of the food chain. But there are other roles that many people are chomping at the bit to play. In fact, this character role is so prestigious, many people vie for it each year. This elite group of characters has the ability to send visitors running for their lives. Meet the few, the proud, the chainsaw characters.
I scare people, it's the adrenaline just builds up inside of me, and it just gives me a sense of excitement and enthusiasm that I'm doing my job right and doing the right thing and just having a lot of fun out there.
The easiest scare, and probably the most effective scare even today, is the chainsaw. It's the noise, it's the vibration, it's the fact that it's handheld, so it's mobile, and they are absolutely the most effective scare.
If chainsaw-wielding psychos don't make you wet your pants, perhaps a trip back to your childhood will.
The core scare in Scary Tales 2 is childhood fears of fairy tales. You know, when you were growing up, all of us had the fears of the monster underneath the bed.
I think that, first of all, fairy tales, to begin with, are kind of frightening. They've taken the somewhat frightening fairy tales that we're all familiar with and made them truly disturbing.
So we get that a crazy Alice is pretty creepy. But aren't you wondering, how do they come up with this stuff?
We went back to research material where we took Grimm's fairy tales and all of the little morality plays that we hear as kids. We took those characters, and as much as our audience has grown up, we took those characters and said, what if they grew up along with our audience?
Of course, to create a scary tale, you need some scary characters.
A lot of the characters work with their space too, so they kind of either contrast their environment so they stand out as a pivotal focus, or they kind of blend in a little bit.
Our cameras got to go into Universal's wardrobe department as the actors were fitted for their Scary Tales costumes. One of the costumes may look out of place amongst the pigs and princesses. It's a black and white costume that actually works with the Scary Tales set to create a scare tactic called camouflage.
So when you walk through Scary Tales in the psychopath room, we have a series of patterns that actually provide you camouflage. And we've dressed the character in this space that looks exactly like the wall. You feel that the wall can't attack me, it's very safe. And suddenly for a split second, you realize that you do have somebody in your space, but you can't focus on them because of the strobes, and now we've been able to scare you.
Are you beginning to feel like Alice after she followed the white rabbit into a world of bizarre creatures? Not yet? Then it's your turn to enter Scary Tales 2. Have you ever come face to face with a room full of rotting dead lambs? This Mary has been a bad girl. It seems this grandma didn't get eaten by the wolf. And let's not forget the 3 pigs.
My favorite haunted house was Scary Tales because it couldn't see what was happening, and the people were in it were like really like energetic and like scary, and they jumped out at you from all different corners, and yeah, and somebody would get scared like right in front of you, and then you'd walk by and they'd scare you and still be scared.
Some of the attendees of Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights are die-hard fans that take Halloween very, very seriously.
I'm a Halloween Horror Nights fanatic. I track it all year on the computer. I look at different websites to try to find out as early as possible what the new logo is going to be. I collect shirts, hats, pins, buttons, shot glasses, ashtrays. I have shirts from every year. I have at least, I think I have 40 shirts. I have almost anything you could want from Halloween Horror Nights, I probably have it.
So what can these fans and others expect to see at future Halloween Horror Nights?
The future for Halloween Horror Nights is very big, I think. This is an event that started with one weekend at Universal Studios Florida, our first theme park here in Florida, and we've now moved it to Islands of Adventure. As this event grows, it will outgrow Islands of Adventure, and I see it moving into probably 2 parks as the years pass us by, where we can even make the theming a little bit, more themed towards what's in our islands, and then take a more movie approach in the studios and join the two to kind of a mega Halloween Horror Nights.
But there is one thing that will probably never change, and that is Universal's desire to scare you to death.
One of the best things a guest can tell you, a compliment we love to hear as well, I'm scared, totally out of my wits. Just like, I can't believe it, it was just wonderful, I gotta come back for more. And you go, good, you're sick, we want you back for more.